Hi everyone, it's Rita. I thought I would pop in here real quick. If you're new to my channel, I'm an Akashic record reader and accessor. I studied with Dr. Linda Howe over a decade ago and got certified to teach healing in the Akashic records as well as Akashic record accessing. And I do readings in that, and I do energy healings. And I'm working on a film called The Revelation of You, which really gets into the knowing that we are energetic beings, because we explored the auric field as it was related to things that we brought into the field. And then we've talked to, we've gotten some perspectives from master energies like Saint Germain, and then science, neuroscientist, and we have got some interviews scheduled with a quantum physicist and a cellular biologists, all writers and active in their field of interest when it comes to wanting you to know that you are energy. And so when there's a disruption in your field and there's a disease, to try to treat the physical without treating the energetic body makes like no sense. So, and I've been reading from this book, The Subtle Energy Fields, but you know, like, everyone knows that we're energy, really. I mean, scientists at Harvard and Yale were teaching about energy medicine and using magnets to reverse ion flow in the early 1900s. We've gotten away from that, and there's a lot of reasons for that, and we don't have to talk about them here. But I'm in this book, which is really cool. Cindy gets into explaining, there's a Dr. Nordenstrom's work, and Dr. Harold Burr, and they started really looking into meridians and the energy around the body as it was related to these meridian systems. And one of the things they found in their research in 1965, using a high-powered electron microscope to test fluid flowing from the meridian localities. In this way, he determined that the fluid, they were looking at embryos. The fluid was comprised of several life-forming substances, including DNA, adrenaline, estrogen, and hyaluronic acid. The proportions of these substances in the fluid far exceeded that found in other bodily fluids, including blood and lymph. He therefore concluded that this fluid was the material aspect of qi, a blend of high energy chemicals, substances, and electricity. Bongan then experimented with embryos of several species and discovered that a chicken began to develop its meridian system within 15 hours of birth. Through further analysis, he determined that the ectoderm, endoderm, and mesoderm, and all the organs are organized by the embryonic energies, subtle energies, which in turn serve as a template for the material energies. Furthermore, he defined the meridians as a tubular system that is divided into superficial and deep systems, which in turn is further subdivided. And he went on to explain what he called the internal duct system, which consists of free-floating tubes within the vascular and lymphatic vessels. They penetrate the vessel walls at 2 points, entry and exit. He theorized that these ducts were formed differently and maybe earlier than the blood and lymph system, and might serve as spatial guides for the development of these bodily systems. In other words, the vessels grew around the meridians, not the other way around. External duct system found along the tops of the internal organs. These form a network separate from the blood, lymph, and nervous systems. External duct systems. This travels along the outer surface of the walls of the blood and lymph vessels and is also found in the skin, where it's known as the superficial duct system. Superficial duct system, this is the one known to most meridian-based therapists. Neural duct system, this runs within the central and peripheral nervous systems. So, what does this mean? The beauty of these ductiles is that they interweave all parts of the body, deep and superficial. These ducts are linked through what Bongan called the terminal ductiles, of various systems which stretch into the nuclei of the tissue cells, and interdispersed along the meridians are very small corpuscles that correspond with, but also lie underneath the acupoints. The sum of this research is that the meridians, along with other subtle energies, might in fact organize the physical body. Etheric in nature, they are also physical, composed of a complex interweaving of chemicals, electricity, and electromagnetic forces that carry chi, a physical and etheric energy that feeds our bodies, minds, and souls. So, it's fascinating to kind of really dig in and try to understand if, like, what I've been told is that we are 97.7% non-physical, that this is only 2.3% of what we are. We can really, if we can try to own that space more and more, that we're energy and that we're connected to everything, and that when we drop this skin suit or this body energy or whatever this is, right, we continue to go on. And may you know that with any of the grief that you're experiencing now, with what are perceived losses, that those energy, people, animals are still with us. And I trust that you trust that more and more every day. It doesn't mean not to grieve. I'm writing now about the book, and there's a lot in the beginning part of it around grief and around, my experiences with grief, because grief can be one of those energies that kind of totally shuts you down from living your life. And if you don't learn how to grieve well, people say grief is, love not knowing where to go. And I'm calling a BS monitor on that, because I'm not saying that you wouldn't get sad and you don't get sad every now and then, but that shouldn't be like the main thing. You should be able to have good memories of somebody that you loved physically in this lifetime, because they're still here. But grieving well is a process, and it takes intention. And I'm writing about that. I've just written about that in the book I'm writing. It's really important to take time every day to intentionally feel what feels like a loss. Any loss, childhood loss, loss of childhood, any of those things need to be grieved well. It's just energy, and it needs to flow. I was just wondering if there was anything else, because she's got, this is just an amazing book. She gets into the history of the meridian system. That this in 1950, Yoshi Nakatani showed that when someone was ill, acupuncture points along the affected meridian tested significantly lower in electrical resistance in comparison with the surrounding skin. The resistant values also changed with the time of day, ambient temperature, and use of acupuncture, as well as physical activity and emotional state of the subject. So he named these points differently as well. So a lot of research has gone into really trying to understand how we are mostly energy. And I trust going forward, at some point, we will teach that to doctors, because I know doctors really want to help people. My friends who are doctors, they told me they got like a half hour of nutrition, in school. And I'm sure they didn't get anything about the subtle body. And you are the subtle body. You are these different energies. And we'll talk more about the auric system, which is what we have been photographing and seeing changes in. But it just gives me more insight into why we see these changes and the reference point of different types of energies around resonance, because everything really is around resonance, right? That's part of the law of attraction. It's all about resonance. So anyway, I gave blood yesterday. It's really good if you can give blood. It's needed right now, and I'll leave you with that. Blessings and love to you. May you own the fact that you're energy. And if you want an Akashic reading, they're $175 this month. I may do a special for like $100 for 45 minutes, but I'm going to be traveling, so we just have to figure that out. So if you're really in need of a session, send me a message, and we'll get it set up. Blessings and love to you. Take care.